Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blow Your Ears Out tonight. All right, there we go. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. I just got done finishing up my Colonel Sanders, so I should have a lot of stamina tonight. I thought I would come on and visit with you guys before our special guest tonight shows up, Mr. Travis Carpenter. Always a pleasure to have Travis Carpenter. Hello, Dana. Hello, Belinda. Hello, Tyler, eating the chicken and maybe some noodles. I'm not sure. He's got a bowl of something, guys. All right. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Bobby. No, hello, Robbie. Sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on. I got my blue blockers on. And nope, we're not bass fishing. Tim Wrestler, good to see you. Thank you for the donation. God bless you for that, man. We appreciate you so much. Mr. Tyler's in the house eating his Colonel Sanders and probably some of those low man noodles. We got Dana Ortega in the house. Dana Affliction. Nancy, good to see you. Michelle McGuire's in the house. Everybody that wants to join our Discord to keep up on the gossip, I now have a Discord. The link to that is pinned at the top of this chat, so feel free to come over and join our Discord, hang out with us, and share your photos, ideas, and everything else. Tried to get Kaylee on the show tonight, tried to get her to sit here, just wave at the camera and smile, but couldn't get her to do that. Me and the moderators worked on her for that. I think she's probably ordering her some Colonel Sanders. Belinda Kruger, good to see you tonight. Always good to see you. Looks like we got a lot of our originals in here. I just heard something whistle, and Mom came in the door, so there's no telling what that is. Uh-oh. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Let me see. I got to do something real quick. Now I'm back. I had to send Mr. Carpenter another link, so hopefully that link will work. Travis, if you're listening, just shoot me a message if it don't work. Hopefully that should work. Oh, it is hot in here tonight. I don't know what's going on. Whew. Kaylee's not hot, but she's anemic. I'm about to burn up. She's about to freeze to death. Mr. Clough, good to see you in here tonight. We are waiting on Mr. Carpenter to join us tonight. We got a good show planned for everybody. We're going to, I believe, look at chapter 8 and probably go down whichever rabbit hole comes up tonight. We're really good at going down a lot of rabbit holes. Amanda's Crazy Life is in here tonight. Hey, Amanda. I hope it's not too crazy. Grace, good to see you. Got a lot of our people in here that the Wolf Lady's in here tonight. Hello, Wolf Lady. Hope you're doing okay tonight. And I've got a thing that says T Carp has just entered backstage, so we'll let him get set up and ready. And when he gives me the thumbs up, we'll bring him on. I won't do him like I do everybody else and just throw him on. We'll let him get set up. I know what it's like to try to get everything because I have so many technical issues before the show, guys. It's crazy. You wouldn't believe it. So I've learned to kind of sit down and try to go over it before we go live. I think we should get Kaylee over here and let her talk to us about the DNA sequencing and everything. So she'll explain that to us and how it works. She says, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, Clough, this computer can definitely be a bear, let me tell you. All right, Travis, give me the thumbs up. CRJ, good to see you. OCST, good to see you, Harold. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat. And what's up, Travis?
Hey, Mike, what you up to, buddy?
Man, I ain't doing anything. Wishing it was cooler.
I heard that. It's nice and it's been nice and chilly here in East Tennessee. I think we've had like 2 or 3 days of 80 degrees the last like weekend, but man, we have had a stretch of like 72, 73 degrees. It's been chef's kiss.
Yes, I would love to have that. I'm the type of person. Give me 60s in the afternoon and 50s in the morning, man.
Ooh, that's awesome. Yep,
That's
that's
what
awesome.
I like.
Been seeing coyotes on the trail cam at the new property. So here in
Uh
about
oh.
uh, here in about a month or two, when their pelts come in, I'm gonna lay out some traps for them. I'm gonna bust their butts.
I thought you might be using something else too.
Oh, I will. I don't want. We'll see. It's kind of like I'm not out at the property just yet, so it's kind of like I got a trap for them. If I were there at the property, I could use a little bit quicker means of extermination.
Be more of a sporting challenge.
Yes, yes, more of a sporting challenge. Let's definitely say could definitely test out the infrared.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I've I'm ready to, man. I've been working on my outdoor channel quite a bit, and you know it's crazy because I enjoy doing this channel, but I have a love for the other channel.
yeah,
It's like a it's outdoors, it's fishing, survival, it's fires on the lake. You know what I mean? It's
yes,
just
it's that primal just chill. Sometimes I'm right there with you. I kind of you not burnt out isn't the word. I don't know, but your soul yearns to just rest a little bit with it.
yeah. I think grounding is important. You know, get out there and touch the grass, right? You
Yes,
know.
yes, absolutely. A good buddy of mine, Joel Thomas. I really like his stuff, and he has a podcast. It's really a podcast called Free the Rabbits. And the whole point of the podcast is he likes doing and talking about stuff like we like to, but his biggest thing is go out and touch grass. Just
Right.
go out and come out of the rabbit hole and touch, and basically like just be for a little bit. I think it's a wise words that he has to say.
Yeah, I think it's important that we connect with what we came from.
Oh, absolutely,
Got
absolutely.
got to get your toes a little dirty.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm ready to. I'm ready to do some hunting and fishing, and we'll have to have you back
Same.
on the other channel, on the outdoor channel, where we can really get into the pelts and everything, because I know a lot of people's going to have a lot of questions about that, because I get a lot of questions too. A lot of people worry about, for instance, rabies. A lot of people worry about that. They're like, do you have to worry about that? You're skinning a coyote or you're skinning a coon, or, I have a buddy that's a taxidermist. Maybe I could get him to come on the show. Maybe he could come on with us. Do you ever watch, I'm trying to think of the name of that. My mind went blank. They're a real popular show. They actually came all the way down here to him, and he done some work for them. But he's like, they actually get like a booster shot for rabies.
I've heard that. I've heard a lot of veterinarians. I've got one of my coworkers. His daughter's going into vet school, which is extremely hard to get into, by the way, over at UT. And she had to get her rabies booster. I think like 3 or 4 of them
Oh,
she
wow.
had to get. It's a bunch, but to do that, because it's like, you're around all types of animals. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and I guess once you get the symptoms of it, there's nothing they can do for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a brain eater.
Kind of like the amoeba, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. I'll, we'll have to talk more about
Oh,
it.
yeah. So what you got going on, man? What was we chapter 8? I think you brought it out now, and
Yeah, I've got did a full on chapter 8, the peer reviews and the journal Nature, and then also like I just finished up and released chapter 9, which is the James journal stuff, which is really wild too. So a lot of people will talk about this study and like, oh, it's not real, or this or that, and it's like, no, it was real. Published in again, published in a journal, and the critics and the haters and whatever powers it be didn't want it out so bad that there were even death threats.
good.
And that was that was the really, really wild stuff that we get into in chapter 9. But let's do a quick overview of chapter 8. So the DNA study was basically, the primary goal of the DNA study was to scientifically prove that Bigfoot or Sasquatch exists. That was the whole point of the study. And so to do that, you don't just write a white paper, basically, or what it's called, and you just don't just give the information out to everyone. You have to jump through the scientific hoops. The scientific hoops are, you submit it to a journal, it goes through these things called referees. The referees then they review the paper, they give findings, they have things that they want you to change or do or whatnot. They send it back to the journal. The journal either submits your paper or wants you to submit a few things more, and then they'll review it with a thumbs up or thumbs down. Journal Nature, it came out that Journal Nature did not follow their own peer review process for the referees. One of the referees did not like the content that was in the paper. Not only did they not like the content, they wanted specifically things removed from it. So let's get into that stuff. So the referees, well, what they want to do is they'll make technical comments on things like I need more proof here. We need this. Some of the technical comments were really weird, and let's get into that. Again, they wanted to for the paper, the study, they wanted them to add a section discussing the history of Sasquatch. They wanted them to provide pictures and video of the subject as supplemental data. The referees refused the original pictures furnished with the paper that were, quote, not clear and compelling, so they were removed. And then another big thing was they wanted to remove references to negative proof and only submit evidence of positive proof. And then there are various technical requests for additional data, removing of certain data, and revisions and conclusions. Well, here's kind of the big poo-poo about removing some of the negative proof, okay? Because the problem is, as Dad puts it, the negative results were also removed from the paper. This was an odd request, raising some red flags. To the possible underlying motives of the referees and the editors of Nature, this motive issue is raised mainly due to the fact that some of the most compelling data is contained in the negative results. And the following is a list of these results. And forgive me if I've discussed this already with your listeners. I feel like this is still a great review of some things to kind of pound home the scientific DNA evidence of Bigfoot. The nuclear DNA extracted from the samples, what they did is they failed to amplify using universal mammalian primers. This result demonstrates that the DNA was not from any known common mammal: bear, fox, wolf, dog, horse, or possum, etc. Okay, so again, the nuclear DNA that comes from the nucleus of the cell, it failed to amplify using any mammalian primers. So it's not an animal. It's not a mammal that we know of. The nuclear DNA did not contain the human TYR gene. You guys can look all this stuff up. Again, the nuclear DNA did not contain the human TYR gene. This gene is associated with skin and skin pigmentation in humans. The nuclear DNA did not contain the human HAR1 gene. This gene is a human accelerated region that is associated with the human neurological development. Basically, when we boil that down, folks, is without these genes present, a human fetus would not be viable. It would not survive. Yet the Sasquatch Genome Project had 3 samples from 3 separate living subjects, not just one sample, 3 separate living subjects that did not have these genes present in their nuclear DNA. In essence, the Sasquatch Genome Project had in its possession DNA from 3 living creatures that, by our biological understanding, were impossible to exist. That's a big deal. There's reasons why the powers that be did not want this study getting out into the scientific realm. What do you think about that, Mike?
You know, I think one of the first problems is whenever you have to submit evidence to try to get pretty much the blessing of them to be able to do it. What happens whenever you have somebody in there that's either a gateholder or a non-believer, or maybe they're paid off by the other side to keep a certain agenda going that doesn't, and then they have the opportunity at that point to be able to sabotage a project from the very beginning to cause, even if they don't say it's fake, you're still planting that seed in everybody's mind to where everybody's still going to have that doubt. And sometimes that's all it takes is, Jesus even talks about how strong the mustard seed is, right? So, I mean, if you can plant that seed and then you've already started the downfall of a project, which isn't fair. Another thing, you said, that they couldn't survive. I think that just goes to prove that they are not us. They are not like us.
Bingo. There's definitely some other things going on with it. Another thing that I wanted to get you kind of your chuckle on is when we get into we get into GenBank. So for those who don't know, that GenBank is the basically the database for all known genetic material, all known genetic basically. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but that's where we look up all species, basically.
So it's a lot like what NCIC in the human form. We have a fingerprint of
Very much
everything
so.
that we know exists.
Yep.
And
Yep,
if they run it through a process and it comes back, this is what this is, this is what that is, this is who this is. So if it's not there, then out of as long as they've had that, then odds are it don't exist, or not on our level anyways.
Correct. So GenBank, they had some fun issues with GenBank. Let me read you guys this.
Uh-oh.
Adding to some frustration, GenBank refused to accept the Sasquatch genomes. This hampered the process significantly. It is standard procedure to upload your genomes to GenBank, and this allows the interested parties to review, compare, searching the genome using the BLAST search engine. GenBank's refusal to accept the 3 Sasquatch genomes made it impossible for the Nature's referees to examine the complete genome. GenBank forced the Sasquatch Genome Project team to change the genus species of the submission from unknown hominid to Homo sapiens. Then the staff at GenBank actually requested that the Sasquatch Genome Project team provide, are you ready for this? An informed consent forms from the subjects because they were human. Please see Exhibit 15 for the complete email exchange. Basically,
could you please sign this?
Please sign this consent form. It's like, come on. It's such red tape, man. It's wild. I thought reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, that was absolutely hilarious. To read.
That gives me another question I have for you. And when you say that, you make my mind turn and flip. Do you think that what they're doing here is, if they take the genome bank and say we get, I don't know, say 5 samples, and out of those 5 samples, all 5 come back the same, and we don't know what they are.
Right.
So say we don't even label them. Say we don't say, like, this is a Bigfoot. What if we just label them as unknown species, right? But they know they can't do that, because if they do that and other researchers start finding this elsewhere, and it all starts showing that, hey, there's something here that we don't know about, because they're finding it's the same thing. So if it's not on paper, it didn't happen, right? It's easier to cover it up.
Right. That's exactly right. If it's not on paper, it didn't happen. I definitely think also that you won't get any more Sasquatch DNA studies anymore, because they're all going to come back mitochondrial DNA human. Remember all the other DNA studies that you heard about, Scholastica and all that? By the way, you don't hear about them anymore. They're gone, because they can't get away from the mitochondrial DNA being human. They have that problem. The nuclear DNA, Dad said it really well. What it really boils down to is the mitochondrial DNA is human, 100% human. The nuclear DNA is unknown, and you cannot get around that as much as you want. And it sucks for those people that really want to believe that it's a bipedal ape, and that's where your fight's always going to be. And it works out for every other entity and power and system that it's a bipedal ape.
But even with, that's the argument that I don't understand, is they will argue that it's a bipedal ape, but we have the ape genome in the genome bank, so it wouldn't come back unknown. It would come back as a as an ape of some kind. I mean, it may, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't make sense to argue it because you're arguing against something that is provable against something. Hey, we don't know what this is, but they're, like you said, they're never going to admit it. And if you push and push and push it, well, they're going to say, well, whenever you collected it, you contaminated it anyways.
Right. Like, and the frustrating part is they're going to say, oh, you contaminated it, but we know we can wash DNA samples. We can wash
Right.
hair. Like, it's not hard. Like any like that's total scientific bunk that you can get this and you can contaminate something. So you can take a hair, wash it, and it's not contaminated. And guess what? You can extract the DNA from it. It's so frustrating.
Did you know
go ahead.
They said a thing the other day I think you might find kind of interesting. It made it hard for me to eat Himalayan salt. I was watching a thing the other day, and they took Himalayan salt and found out that it has unknown DNA in it, and they believe that because they mine it out of caves, that it's actually the flesh and blood of the Nephilim giants that look like the mountains and stuff, and that's our salt. I'm like, what?
Who knows? That's a theory that I don't know. Like, that's a little stomach churning.
Yeah, and they said it does have DNA.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Now it makes you think a little bit. That's
yeah,
wild,
I thought that was kind of wild.
That is kind of wild. I have to check into that, dude. I'll tell you what. Speaking of the Nephilim and all that, if you guys haven't watched The House of David on Amazon Prime, it is fire, Mike. It is good. They nail the Nephilim part of this, like nail it really well. It's House of David, Amazon Prime, and it is really, really, really good.
I'll check that out.
Oh man, they the first or second episode, they go the Philistines. They go to Gash, or what is it? Where's Goliath from? I can't remember. Is it I can't remember exactly where he's from, but they go to those mountains and they go into this massive door, and they go and they want to talk to the mother of giants and whatnot. And she basically talks about like how their fathers and blah, blah, blah. And they walk in, and like the Philistines are offering them worship and all that stuff. And then like Goliath and his brothers walk out, and they're just massive. And I'm like, oh, it's incredible. So
I watched a good thing on that the other day too. They were talking about, well, David didn't have no faith whenever he fought Goliath because he walked over and he picked up 5 rocks. And the preacher said, no, David knew that he had 4 brothers.
Goliath. Yeah. Goliath had 4 brothers. He was ready to kill them all.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, really good. And you got to watch it. It's super cool.
I am definitely going to check that out.
I wanted to also talk about chapter 9 in the book. I don't want to ask everybody forgiveness. I really haven't kept on a good reading schedule. I'm trying to put them out every week, but I'm really sucking at this, and I apologize. But chapter 9, man, it was really, like, reading that, it was really, really wild. This gets into some weird drama, man. So chapter 9 is the peer review of Jamis, and what basically happened is it's the Journal of Advanced Multidisciplinary Exploration in Zoology. And basically, the foundation, or basically it was accepted for peer review on January 4th, 2013. Okay. And the team, they were going to do it and press release and publicate it and all that. Dude, like I'm just going to read you some of these emails, back and forth, and see what you have to say.
Okay.
So Basically, the process, it was going to be accepted. The process was moving smoothly, and then this happened. As all involved were extremely excited about the impending publishing of the paper, then without warning, I receive an email from David Pilates that is devastating, confusing, and baffling me completely. The following is the body of that incredible email. January 10th, 2013 at 6:43 p.m. Eastern Time. Guys, I just received a call from Melba with some unbelievable news. First, here's the link to the journal accepting the paper. Melba had been told by the editor that the paper was approved and they were moving forward with publication late tonight. The paper was in the hands of other peer reviewers now, but enough had signed off on it to be approved. The editor called Melba this afternoon crying and shaken, supposedly to his core. He told her that two of the most trusted people inside the journal had been victims of a murder suicide. This supposedly occurred somewhere in Utah. I did a search and nothing was in the press about it to this point. I don't know the names. The editor also told Melba that the journal was using this project to help get widespread publicity and the inauguration of the journal. The attorney for the journal has supposedly told the editor to move away from this project and to not publish it or he'd resign. Guys, I don't know quite what to believe other than there's a lot of bad karma with this study. If you have any ability to get news off the web or through other sources, let me know if you find out anything about the victims mentioned above. As of this time, nothing is going to be published as the editor appears frightened. Dave, what do you think about that, Mike? How does that make you feel in your plums to when they're about to do this, and then you get a email on January 10th from David Pilates that says all of what just happened there.
Some very influential, powerful person in a place of power made an executive call to stop it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of things being like Dave said, there's a lot of bad karma. I think a lot of powerful people did not want this study out there.
Yeah, I
And they
don't
were
think it's
willing to do
karma.
anything.
I
They were
don't think
willing to
it's
do
karma.
anything. Oh, I don't either. I don't believe in karma.
I think it's one of those, if you, we would highly recommend that you not publish that. And by the way, how's the family doing? Are they still attending such and such school?
Bingo. Exactly.
You know,
It'd be really shameful if your wife's brakes didn't work tomorrow.
mhm.
Something like that. Um, Basically, as mentioned above in the introduction, Dr. Ketchum's executive producer and all that stuff, Dad wanted to do this, but they had those mysterious deaths. The JAMA, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to read this with you guys. The JAMA's executive producer's remarks will be designated with EP. Okay, so that's the executive producer. We're going to keep names out of this. First, an email received by Dr. Ketchum on the evening of January 9th at 6 p.m. concerning the progress of the publishing. So this is January 9th. This is before the January 10th email, okay? So here is her stuff on what was going on and how she came about this this murder-suicide thing. EP, subject, great news to Melba Ketchum. Our conversations have been emailed have been email only today. Scholastica doesn't seem to be too concerned, but we will not be contracting blank. So we're redacting some names here. Okay, redacted. We are confident in the final peer review being completed this evening, so I feel very confident regarding our go live. I will be accountable to upload my press release in Scholastica. I was taught how to configure the release so that it is top on Google search. I spent an hour on the phone with tech support. Phase now has a corporate office headquartered in blank, and we are still going with Wikipedia, we're still slow going with Wikipedia, but moving ahead. The following email string begins on January 10th at 2:14 p.m. Okay, this exchange, the executive producer starts the email string with the following exchange: EP, press release, big problem. You need to react or retract your announcement ASAP. Legal
What?
counsel, not a wise thing to do. Dr. Ketchum emails back, what's the problem? EP, Melba, I reviewed my press release statement with my attorney. I've tried to get feedback from blank on phase, the journal, and this manuscript. Blank and I are currently on the phone, and blank is very upset and concerned. Blank will not support me or continue to represent me if I proceed with the press release. I need blank. I'm very scared. I don't want to put you in a bad situation, but I must protect myself and especially my little babies. I am not sure
Huh?
what to do. I am on the phone with blank now. We need a strategy to keep us both whole and both protected. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Melba says, "We get our press release we got our press release stopped. I need to know what's going on though. Please call me." EP, thank God, God is still on our side. I will call you. I'm trying to hold back tears during this phone call right now. I have the sickest feeling in my stomach. Basically, Dr. Ketchum engaged in a phone conversation with the executive publisher of the Phase Journal sometime after the email string was finished on January 10th, 2013. Not being privy to the conversation, I am unable to give any details of the conversation. However, the content of the email the next morning reveals that Dr. Ketchum was able to convince the executive publisher of Phase to transfer the ownership of the journal in order to preserve the passing reviews. Below is that sanitized email. And I'll read that here in just a second. Mike, what do you think about this? Again, just reading this email string from the executive publisher and Dr. Ketchum.
The most disturbing part to me is I love my babies. That
Yep.
really bothers me whenever somebody threatens somebody's children to push an agenda or a belief. We're our country's kind of in that right now that if
Yeah.
you go against somebody's belief or what they say is true, then they either try to destroy you or unalive you.
Yes.
You
We
know,
we saw that last Wednesday. You know,
absolutely. Still
and
bothering me to the core,
oh,
man. And
absolutely. And that stuff, I don't believe. How do I put this kindly and sanitized? I don't believe the official narrative one bit.
I
I
absolutely
do,
don't.
I don't believe it one bit. I think
Nope.
Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are very much on the right trail, in my opinion, and I'm going to leave it at that.
That's why. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna leave a on my Patreon for everybody that's interested. I'm gonna leave my theory there, and my theory is not even one that's been spoke about in the news right now. I have a
huh.
theory, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, and that's what
Yeah, man.
bothers me. You know.
You'll have to
Uh,
you'll have to DM me after the show, and we'll talk more
oh
about that.
yeah, I will for sure because yeah I seen
Yeah,
things. I don't know. I prayed about it and I seen things, and they're not even talking about it right now. But I think that it makes sense.
it's
But
it's
yeah,
it's we'll do that. That's why you
yeah.
got to be a Patreon person. Do you get a lot of? I hate to be that way, but there's a lot of stuff that YouTube won't let us talk about, and you learn a lot of fun stuff on Patreon.
Oh yeah,
So
they would. If I was to say what I want to say right now, we probably wouldn't even get to finish this.
absolutely. By
They
the
they, they
way,
would
uh,
shut me down.
by the way, on Patreon about 2 or 3 weeks before you heard about it on these major podcasts. What I'm talking like big podcasts, like what is it that uh, Sunday Cool podcast when they talked about it? Did you hear about that? We
I
talked.
haven't heard about that one.
L.A. Marzulli and Tony Merkel both went and talked about Dad in the portal and all that stuff. And L.A.
Uh-huh.
Marzulli actually talked about him praying with Dad and getting those emails that I spoke to you about.
Right.
So L.A. Marzulli talked about that on the Sunday Cool podcast. Sunday Cool podcast has about 1.4 million subscribers, and I was like, but Mr. Mike's getting the first. Mr. Mike and his stuff is his Patreon's getting the first crack at it. So very cool stuff. I thought
Yeah.
that was funny.
Well,
But
maybe we need to plan a Patreon where we can, because I have a lot of ideas. I'll run past you on the Patreon. I couldn't do it here, but and I'm sure you have a lot of ideas too.
oh, absolutely. A lot of stuff. Again, we can't do and say on YouTube, and lights and camera equipment and stuff. It's it's not free. You can't just go into Walmart and ask for it.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit of cheese. But let's get back to
Yeah.
the other content at large. Sorry.
Yeah. So so they're trying to control the narrative.
Yes.
If you say that it exists, then you're saying that the Bible is true. If you say the Bible's true, then they're of course saying the Word of God is true.
Yep.
Then they lose the narrative, and I'm sure, and I think a lot of those people, a lot of the people that control I guess, the outcome of the investigation, they want it to be an ape, a dumb ape, because if it's a dumb ape, then there is no Nephilim, there is no Watchers, there is no.
Correct.
I mean, there's no flood, there's no Noah. It
whitewashes the whole thing, man.
Right.
It whitewashes the whole thing. Then you have, okay, it's just an undiscovered ape out in the woods like a gorilla. It really just whitewashes everything. But
they
if
still
it's
want you
not,
to, but they still want you to take it a consent form, even though it's a dumb ape.
yeah, exactly. That's the wild thing about it. So let's get back to the next day. So we got that email on January 10th. So date is now Friday, January the 11th, 2013. Subject is thinking more clearly this AM to Dr. Melba S. Ketchum. Dear Melba, I think your plan of transferring Jamez is brilliant. The work is done, so if whoever decides to take over Jamez needs to quickly sign up their profile on Scholastica. If that happens ASAP, you could still get this out before the 16th. The peer reviews are all anonymously. Whoever takes over Jamez can read those peer reviews and make their own editorial decision to publish. Respond to this email to let me know when whoever it is has signed up their profile on Scholastica. There is still time. There is still hope. An agreement was reached between the EP of Phase and Dr. Ketchum. On short notice, it only made sense for her to take control of the journal, preserve the passing peer reviews, publishing the paper as originally planned. The details of the transfer agreement remain confidential to this day. Dr. Ketchum took control of the Phase Journal, renaming the journal Denovo, Denovo. The team was informed the study would be published. We were given the publishing date of February the 13th of 2013. So, there's a lot of contributing factors into the decision not to have a press release. Here's another thing. Adrian Erickson refused to allow the team to use his video of the Sasquatch Ericsson's team had captured on both infrared and nighttime footage. But basically, Ericsson, it basically says, unfortunately, by the time the Sasquatch Genome Project was published, Ericsson had become extremely delusioned with the Bigfoot research community. He had watched Dr. Ketchum, David Pilates, and other team members basically get completely savaged by the Bigfoot blogs, and he was just over it. He had a 2016 interview, and basically Adrian Erickson said this: in 2011, we decided to shelf the documentary, which was in its finishing stages. We are not able to get an impartial, open-minded scientist who would stick his or her neck out to discuss the controversial DNA results, as they were not in accordance with the DNA of the likely species. Only the uninformed media gave it a soundbite time on various TV and news stations, and the Sasquatch community crucified Melba's results. A couple of experts lend their opinions. There was so much opposition and skepticism, releasing the documentary at that time would be pointless. It was like saying we found a purple apple and everyone else said, no, it can't be because apples have always been red. Even others in the Sasquatch community in the race to come up with the DNA did nothing but discredit the project. What personal conclusion do you draw from this study? And Adrian Erickson says this: the world is not ready to accept what this species is. Certainly the scientific community is not. As an example, even though Dr. Leela, I know how to say her last name, Dr. Leela, let's just say that, witnessed a Sasquatch doing a bluff charge and recorded the audio of it, she cannot come out and say Sasquatch exists, as I presume she will be criticized by her peers, or perhaps by doing so diminish her chances in the research field. If she feels she cannot, how can others? So basically, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not real familiar with what caused, and I haven't looked at this part, so you'll have to inform me on this. Did Melba pretty much give up on it because of the attacks and everything? Is that why she quit, or was it funding, or was it threats? What caused her to?
So basically, Melba Ketchum, and they published the review in the journal named De Novo. That basically Melba bought the journal. Melba bought the journal, renamed it to De Novo, and published it on February. Hold on, let me get the actual date so people can look this up, because God forbid I get a date wrong.
Yeah, I know that.
No, I love you guys to death. I'm just kidding. On February 13th, 2013, 2/13/13. Okay, so that's when it was published in the journal De Novo. So basically they the reason why they didn't make a big press release is they just didn't want the circus. They were done. They were done with it. They had the evidence. It's out there, and they felt like people in the scientific community can do it themselves. Adrian Erickson was sick and tired of people basically calling him a liar, seeing what happened with all the other people, seeing what happened to Melba. He just said, he basically took, the way Dad puts it is, he took his ball and went home. He's like, all right, you don't want this stuff? Fart on you. Right, but he didn't say fudge,
Right, and it's hard to win when they're making the rules up as you play.
That's exactly right. He basically says Sasquatch will decide when it's time to be recognized. The Sasquatch decides when he lets you see him. There's no hunting for Sasquatch. Okay. With night vision cameras, as I naively thought at the start of this project. Unless there are chance encounters, the Sasquatch knows when you are and if you're there, and he is stalking us humans. not the other way around. I have also learned more about human nature along the way, the viciousness and prejudice on the subject. And that's what Adrian Erickson had to say about it. That was his final quote. It's basically, he's like, you know, um, if we
So
see
what
them,
are
it's them letting us see them. Yeah, go ahead.
what's your thoughts on that? What do you think?
I definitely agree with Adrian Erickson. I don't, if when we go out and we look for them, I think that the only encounter that we are enabling is an encounter that they allow to some degree. I don't think you were going to surprise them in any way, shape, or form. Personally, um, whatever they allow it to be, or whenever they allow us to see them, it's some purpose that they have. I don't 100% know the purpose. That's just my thoughts on it. I'm willing to be wrong, but that's my thoughts.
I agree too. I think that when we go into the woods, that it's not a surprise. I mean,
Hmm.
kind of like deer when you run up on deer. Deer, you might run up on them, but before you got there, they still knew something was there, something was different, something was wrong. A smell, a feeling, the hearing. These things, which I believe are angelic. I believe they share angelic knowledge. I think, what I was wondering, I don't know if there's any truth to this, it's just something that I kick around in my head. It seems to me there's two types of people that see them. Uh, and I don't think it's the blood. What I think is, and I'm like I said, I'm willing to be wrong. It's just a theory. Children see them a lot. Children are abducted by them a lot. Okay, so I got to thinking, what else do children see a lot? Children see spirits, demons a lot. They're more open to it. They're innocent
They are.
blood. And most adults that have these encounters with these creatures, I'm not saying all, but most, when they go out into the woods, I get a lot of encounters sent to me. And I notice in a lot of these encounters, not all, but 90% of them say, a lot of people will say they was looking for it, they was talking about it, they was afraid, they was in a bad spot, and they knew they was in a bad spot. Is it whenever we go out there, do we give off that I'm looking for you, I'm giving you power, kind of like, I'm giving you place?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely think so. If we go out there and we're genuinely, like you said, looking forward or seeing what's up, we do give off something to them. I don't think we know that all the spiritual rules that are in play. Um, just because we don't know the spiritual rules at play doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they don't still exist. Just because just because we don't know the rules of Monopoly, if you're on the Monopoly board, guess what? You're playing. Does that make
Exactly.
sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you're going to their house either way. You're going to where they
Yeah.
reside, where they reside. And I look back at, okay, when I was a kid, I look back to whenever I was a kid, just looking back. I knew that they existed. So, but me and my cousin, we didn't go out when we were, and I'm talking like 12, 13. We didn't go out looking for them, right? We would go outside during the day. That was the last thing on our mind. Most of the time it was hunting, fishing. And I mean, we would walk from my mom's house, which was probably 2 miles to the woods. There was no houses around. We would walk that during the day. We would play in the woods, dude, run around in the woods. No encounters, but we wasn't looking for it. We wasn't down there tree knocking. We wasn't whistling for no reason. We wasn't trying to almost. It's almost when you go down there and do that. It's to me, it's almost like you're performing a ritual. You're
Hey, that's
calling them.
that's exactly what you have to be careful of. I believe is like you said, is the call is the ritual, whatever we're doing ritualistic wise. It definitely might be. I think you know, the early days of research when Dad was, and I've said this many times before, the early days when you start the knocking, you start the calling, then you start leaving things for them, then you start, trying to build a relationship with them and gifting and returning gifts and all that. Again, you don't know what that means in the spiritual realm. You know what I mean? You start paying homage to them. It really gets weird. And if you summon them unknowingly, they might they follow you home. You know what I mean?
You know, hey man, I got one for you. Okay, so the other night, me and Kaylee went out. I sent you that video.
Yep.
It was quiet, man. We went out. Nothing happened at the first place. It was as peaceful as it could be. We're walking through the woods. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better night. And I was like, well, this sucks. So we go get in the vehicle and we drove to, it's the same area, but a further back bridge, which is a lot more secluded. So we went back there and I'll tell you that part in a second. When we went down there, nothing was happening. It was really quiet. I mean, it was peaceful. And I actually had fishing on my mind more than I did cryptids because I'm looking in the water. I can see the gar, and I'm like, I'd rather be gar fishing right now. So we go down there, and I decide, hey, the moon's out. It's a full moon. It was a blood moon, almost looking moon, but it was a full moon. And I was
Yeah.
like, hey, let's walk down the creek bank, because the flood had been up. So the creek bank doesn't have any undergrowth. It's all dirt, so easy walking. I was like, let's walk down it. We walked down it and we got to a fallen tree, and I didn't have a bad feeling. It's hard to explain. It wasn't a bad feeling, but I didn't want to walk no further, but it wasn't a scary feeling. It's hard to explain. It's like for some reason, I was like, nah, I don't want to walk down there because I wanted to at first really bad. And then all of a sudden, so I listened to it. We went back and I told Kaylee, I said, go up on the bridge and do one of your whistles because she can whistle really loud. I was like, go up on the bridge and I'll hang back a little bit, right? I'll stay, 15, 20 yards from you. I'm confident with what I carry. I can protect her at that range. So I had her right there. She's standing up around the bridge. She does the whistle. And at first I hear a rocket, boom. And she goes, oop, it scared her. It makes like a scream, a call, I'm not sure. She starts running at me. And after it does it, you can hear it kind of like, and it's like talking back and forth to something. And it scared her really bad. And I was like, okay, we're going to leave. So we start going across the bridge to leave. We get to the car, and my mind, I'm in that mindset where I'm wanting to capture it. You know what I mean? I'm wanting to get that
Right.
photo. I'm wanting to get that
You,
video. And she's wanting to go. So I'm torn. And I'm like, okay, we'll go. So I'm taking my time and I'm still filming. And then I get in the vehicle and I drive maybe 10, 15 feet. I drive up and I stop. I rolled her window down, 5, 6 inches. And I said, just do one more whistle, because I was wanting to get a better audio of it because you could tell that it was talking. It had a weird, and she's like, no, I don't want to whistle. No, I don't want to whistle. No. And she's holding the camera at the time. It's on a like a pole.
right.
And we're sitting there and she's looking out the window, and the phone, a lot of people don't understand when you go out and you investigate and you do these lives, that phone's putting light in your eye the whole time. You're night blinded to a sense.
Oh yeah, you're bad, not
So
blinded to it. Yep.
yeah. So she's looking out the window. All of a sudden, dude, she flips around, goes to the fetal position in the passenger seat, starts crying and saying, go, 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 go. I knew at that point she seen something. I knew something had terrified her. So
Right.
she had the camera in her hand, but she had the camera down. So I grabbed the camera, and as I go to drive away, I put the camera up in the front windshield because, hey, if there's even somebody out there that's going to hurt me, I want to get it on film in case they do, right? Evidence. That's what I was taught.
Of
So I
course.
get the camera up, and I'm driving, and I am asking her, what did she see? And she says, what she saw was on four legs. It was not bipedal. She said it had long hair, like shaggy hair, and it was gray in color. But she said she couldn't see a head on it. And she said the way that it was running to cut off our vehicle, to cut us off. So that really scared her. Um, we got home after that had happened, and I reviewed and reviewed, and she actually found it. She's like, Dad, I told you that it was there. Down the road, after we had stopped, right when she had seen it running, there's a curve in that road. Whatever it was, it came out onto the road and then went back into the woods. But what came out onto the road in front of us was bipedal. It was no longer on four legs.
Hmm.
So we went down there and done a daytime investigation. I don't know if you got to see it or not.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
I found a 24-inch footprint, a whole trail of them. They
Were they
are
were
three
they
inches deep.
Sasquatch?
Dude, I don't know what they are. They're three-toed. They
It sounds
were,
like Dogman to me.
yeah, they were three-toed. I done it on the live when we got there, measured it on the live, 24 inches. It was like 3 and a quarter
Wow.
inches deep. And they go all the way down to the creek. And whatever it was at the creek down there has like tore the mud all up at the edge of the creek. I mean, a huge area is just like, looks like cattle went in there, like it was in a cattle pen, and just tore that whole area up.
Wow.
And
Uh,
I don't
That
know. There were weird stuff down there. Weird stuff.
that I mean that sounds like Dogman, but then the three toed. Who knows? Who knows what Nephilim creatures they're coming up with now? You know what I mean?
It was
Um,
wild. I mean, there was a tree
that is
down there,
wild,
dude.
man.
I filmed it. There's a tree down there. Not a limb that fell out of a tree. Full size tree with a Y in it
Hmm.
that's up in the air 12 foot with one part of it, the roots and all, in the fork of a tree, and the other part on another tree.
Yep. Just marking its territory, doing something like that. Yep.
And I
That's
was like,
wild, man. That
I
doesn't
couldn't believe
happen.
it. And I filmed a lot of weird stuff down there. There was, I'm trying to think, there was the footprints. There was, oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody this. This is funny. I don't know, man. I got on to Kaylee. I woke her up because I thought she was messing with me, dude. So we went down there on the film. I had to tape measure in my pocket, right? My right pocket, I had tape measure.
Mm.
So when we went down there, I was measuring and everything. And I noticed when we got down to the creek, there was somebody had left a limb line where it had flooded. They left it and it had a hook on it and still had the sinker on it, and it was like neck high. I was like, we got to cut this. We can't leave this here. Somebody walks into that at nighttime, that'd be bad. So
Yeah.
I reach in my pocket to pull my knife out. My knife's gone. I'm like, oh man, my dad gave it to me. And I was like, oh
Dang.
man, I've lost my knife down here. So we looked and we looked and we looked. I couldn't find it. So I know that a bunch of goons watching me. So I was like, oh, I found it. I didn't find it, but I didn't want them coming down there finding it before I could. So
Right.
we ended up leaving. That night, something beat on the back of the house. The dogs were going crazy. So the next morning, I got up to go check the mail. And when I go out to check the mail, there's my pocket knife on the hood of my Durango. So
That's weird,
I
dude.
I grabbed it and I went back inside and I woke Kaylee up. She's still asleep. And I said, are you messing with me? And she said, what do you mean? And I showed her, I said, you put this on the hood of my truck? And she's like, no.
That's them
So,
mess. That's them doing their thing and messing with you, man. They would do that. They would do that with Dad with the mountain mint that he found. They did that whole rock stacking thing, and they left the mountain mint for him. Everybody talked. By the way, those rock stacking things. Everyone thinks that, oh, it's just a whole bunch of humans that do it. Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
and why would you go
The
down there and stack rocks?
Yeah, uh, but they left him Mountain Mint there, and all that stuff. But that's funny that they Man, they do that, and everybody thinks that, you know, and they'll leave little things for you too. Remember how you had said they left, was it the stick, and they said they left something else. I can't remember, but they leave. That's funny that you lost that, and they laid it right there. That lets you know they're intelligent, obviously, to a degree. That's just not obviously dumb ape, but they know what a knife is. They know, you know what I'm saying? They
Oh,
know.
right. You know, Blake right here from the Lost Cryptid Conservatory, he's a really good guy. He gets a lot of good information. He's a good investigator. He said he
Yeah,
got, a three-toed track from, what is it, 168 Bigfoot Odyssey,
168
Florida
Big
Expedition.
Odyssey.
And he casted it.
So, so man, what did it like when it comes to three toes? Is it like a three-toed, like reptilian-looking thing, or is it like three-toed, like is it like a mammalian type of three toes?
It's like the best way I could describe it would be a three-toed alligator print with slight webbing.
Okay, that's interest. That's wild, man.
And
That's
then,
really, really wild.
it makes me wonder, though, so many things. Like when I go down there by myself, there's a bridge, there's water under the bridge. Something was coming up one night, had to be out of the water, and was beating on the bridge and then going back down in the water. And then before I left, I'm not going to lie, dude, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
And
I
I
would
left.
would me
I
too.
left, and I'm going to bring up a second part. And I like, kind of what you talked about earlier, too, what we talked about. Ever since that happened with Kaylee the other night and seeing that thing in the road and hearing that scream, uh, honestly, I'm having trouble going back, just to be honest.
I, I get it. I get it. I put out a or I'm going to be putting out a video in the next day or two about facing fears, and what it's basically about is I'm going back down to, remember that place that I've told you guys about where when you said, hey, have you ever had anything happen to you? And I said, I've never seen them, but I've been screamed at, I feel like. And I told you that story. I go back to that place, that hunting spot that Dad put me at, um, and it's still there. The natural blonde that we made is still there. Um, and I go back there and I prayed them away, at least from that area. Um, I didn't feel anything. I felt a little nervous, but I didn't feel anything. And I was talking to Tony Merkel, and I was talking to John Pounders. What might be something that I need to do, and I think maybe the way that I start battling this, and me and you start battling this too, is we go down to these places and we start praying them away. And as in, like, hey, you're not welcome here anymore. You're not going to be here, and you're not going to terrorize these folks anymore and do the things you're doing. You don't have dominion over this area anymore. Um, that may be something. Now, I don't know the spiritual rules. All I know is that I'm a Christ follower and I do what he tells me to do. But also, it tells me to preach the gospel to all creatures. It doesn't say humans, says creatures. So, I struggle with what I'm supposed to do there, Mike. But I'll definitely tell you, I understand the feeling of I don't want to go back.
I'm having trouble too. And, I'm asking myself right now, and I haven't been back nighttime since that happened. A lot of people's probably wondering why, but I'm having trouble with it. And another thing, it's bothering me even on my outdoor channel. I went down there the other day and just didn't feel the same. I felt like you ever. I feel like it's mad at me. Does that make sense? I feel like it's mad at me.
Yeah,
It's like I
no, I
feel like
understand
that.
that.
It's not the feeling before, man. It's like used to when I went down there. It was kind of like I might hear something. Something may happen. Now I feel like I might get hurt. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, that's the way Dad felt before he passed. Remember, like reading that email, he did not. He felt demonic, like demonic oppression, beforehand. Um, that's just really, really wild, man. It's really, really
It's
wild.
you know, it's weighed on me, and you know what, and then you do the what ifs, and you can't what if because you can what if yourself to death. But I get these at night when I'm like, what if that night? What if I would have went past that tree like I wanted to? What if,
Yeah.
what if I would have continued? Because it was between me and my vehicle and a creek. I couldn't get to my vehicle if I would have wanted to without having to go past it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling when you sit
It's
down and
just
think about it.
that is a bad feeling. That's an insanely scary feeling. Like, cause
Yeah, no,
you, like you said, you kind of what if yourself
right.
to a lot there, to a lot there, and
There's I don't there's a lot to that area too. I'll send you some stuff on it later, that I think may contribute to what's going on there. There was some findings made there, and there was some bones that were a lot bigger than human bones.
there you go.
And the Corps of Engineer came in, dug a really big hole, and removed it. And I actually spoke with a couple of museums that told me yes, there was some things found there.
There, man, that hidden history, and finding those big bones, that'll definitely, man, that definitely tells you there's a spot, not only burial ground, but there's spot that they lived, and who knows what happened there.
Oh, my
So
mind goes crazy because I get to thinking, my dad, he's buried about 2, 3 miles from here is the cemetery. And then I get to thinking, what if a bunch of people went up there at my dad's cemetery and started beating on his headstone trying to get him to listen to him, or, messing around in there whistling and stuff? Because if that's their cemetery and we're in there and we're mocking them and beating on trees and walking on their, I mean, does it infuriate them? Do they get mad? Do they
it,
have that same feeling we do?
I definitely think they have all range of emotions. They're if they're genetically human, and then mixed with angelic. They have emotions just like we do. They'd have bad days. They don't talk to us, so they can't say, "Hey, I'm feeling good today," or "Hey,
Right.
I've feeling bad today," or "Hey, I'm feeling angry or depressed," or just all the things. So we don't know, and I do believe they can have a full range of emotions. I just don't know that it's just hard for us to be able to know, because they won't communicate with us in a way where we can fully understand. Now, the question is, the next question is, why won't they communicate with us then? And that's a question I don't know. I don't have the answer for that right now. I don't think anyone does. And there's a
You know,
plethora of theories.
I've seen something that's happening in the community right now that blows my mind, and I'll get your opinion on it. I noticed that we have a lot of people that's became experts and teachers. And my thing is, how can you teach something when you don't fully understand it? How can you, to me, I'm sharing experiences.
Right.
I'm sharing with you what I've experienced, and what bothers me is a lot of these people will come out and they'll say, "You can't shut me down. I'm here teaching. I'm telling you the truth about them. I'm telling you what they are." What? No, you're not, dude. And whenever they push that so hard, there's people out there that listen to us that don't know better? And what if you're telling them, I know everything. This is what you do, right? But you're wrong. And they go out and they trust you and you get somebody hurt or worse.
Yes, you get somebody physically, spiritually,
Right.
yeah, you that's that's the frustrating part about this. And I think Dad, I'm gonna brag on my dad a little bit. He said many, many, many times, and to the day he died, I am an amateur Bigfoot researcher. The amateur, and I am the son of an amateur Bigfoot researcher.
Well,
That is all I am. I am presenting his findings, his work, trying to continue it the best way I know how, and not letting it die, and getting information to folks.
you're doing an excellent job.
Thank you,
Uh,
my brother.
and another thing your dad said too, and I agree with him 100%, 100%, honestly. Don't go look for them, because if you go look for them, you're going to find them. And when you find them, you may not be able to get rid of them.
Man, Mike, I really want you to I really feel like that needs to be pressed. Is if you look for them hard enough, you will find them.
You will.
You will. And it is, I hammer, I want to hammer that. It's like, I'm telling you, you will find them.
Yes,
And
and
they're
they may not.
not
Yeah, and they may not come to you as a cryptid. They may come to you as a demon or something in your home, an attachment, oppression, a possession. Remember, they're all related. They're one and the same.
correct. They're one and the same. And love, love these guys to death. A good example of that is, I keep hammering this home, but Les Stroud talks about it. Like, go watch his stuff.
Yeah,
Go watch his
yeah.
stuff on the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot, and he will tell you from his mouth that there's creepy stuff out there. Creepy stuff. And I think that, I need to go out there and show you guys these things and try to preach and bless this place. Because if Survivor Man, big, strong, Les Stroud Survivor Man, goes out there and he's scared of this place, maybe it's scary, you
Oh,
know, uh, you know,
absolutely.
and maybe there needs to be some things prayed away. If I'm ever going to, I know this, Mike, if I'm ever going to be able to hunt there again without Dad, I'm going to need to fight some spiritual battles there.
I agree. I think that because your dad was there and because of what your dad done and because of who you are, you share the lineage of your father, You are your father's product, that there is a battleground there. I think that that will probably a really strong spiritual battle for you right there, because
Absolutely.
they don't like to let go of things that they think they own.
Right. And I definitely, I went up there to look at the federal no trespassing sign. There's a sign up there and it says federal no trespassing. Do I know if it's 100% real or not? No, I don't. But like I went up there to see the sign for myself, and it's like, even if it was, it's like,
That's weird.
isn't that magical now? How the feds took over this place. Does that make sense?
I think they were watching your dad just as much as the cryptids were.
You know, I have that thought too. I don't. I have that thought too. Here's
It
what I
may,
do know is that Dad's name is not being forgotten. It's being talked about, and
right.
whatever the Holy Spirit's doing with it, you know, it's definitely not by my doing. I am not a good sounding board, but like like it has it has brought it keeps getting brought up. It's like there's something going on. There's something going on. There's something going on. And I don't know, man. It's pretty wild.
Well, I mean, your dad was a magnet to him. They, you're that was weird.
What was that?
I don't know. Nothing's in here. I seen that too go
Did
across
you
the
see
back wall.
that?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, that was really weird.
And there's nothing over here. Just me. Uh,
That was the
but
like
I looked.
so for the I was about to say I was like for those that didn't just see that like a really dark shadow just went over Mike
Yeah,
like
it
basically like
just
just
rolled
rolled
through.
right over you and
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
like did your daughter get up and get in front of like the light source or
No, there's
that
nobody
was
in here.
weird
Yeah, my light source is
that
actually
was
above me. It's skylights. The ones you can dim and stuff, brighten.
oh yeah
Yeah, it's up above me.
dude that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
dude you got to go back on camera like around the 127 mark that's
I have to.
wild.
I will have to look
Mm,
at that. But
yeah.
there's a place around here too, an old cemetery, and I was talking to mom about it the other day. I was just little, and there was this lady that lived across the street from us, and I was like real young, probably 10 or 11. She was Indian, and she would stick an old bell out the door, an old brass bell, and she would ring it when she needed help, because we didn't have phones, everybody. And she was buried up there, and I told mom, I said, I would like to go up there and just see where she's buried. And mom was like, you don't want to go to that cemetery. And I was like, what?
Mm,
There's a lot of Native Americans up there, and they've done ceremonies and burials. She's like, you don't want to mess with that. So I think
I
I'll leave
heard
it
that.
alone. I don't like, of course I have a rule. I have a rule that I've always said, I'm not going to go to a cemetery and investigate. Not because you can hear voices. That to me is disrespectful. I'm not saying people that does it's wrong, but for me, for the way I feel, I don't do it. Uh, if I go to places like that, to me, I'm just trying to find somebody that I knew to to pay respect to or whatever. But I guess those places can hold evil. There is a lot of sadness there at cemeteries, and if I was a demon and I was looking to attach to somebody that had an easy opening, where would I hang out at? Hospitals, funeral
Uh,
homes, and graveyards, right?
see, mom tells a story about that. Is when her dad died, a demon tried to attach to her, and and she looked at it and she's like, "You are not." It was either a grandmother or somebody of that. Like she basically looked at it as like, "You are not whoever it was." It's like, "Get away from me." And when she said that, she said it like melted away, and like
I believe
she
it.
saw it for what it was. It was it was wild. But so spiritual things have happened in my family mo- for a while. There has been some definitely spiritual warfare there. And all that to say, yes, when it comes to like death, there's something about that opening, that sadness, that despair, that gives these demons an opening to try to attach or try to do things like that.
Yeah, because I've heard people say, I went to the cemetery to see mom or dad or my brother or whatever, and while I was out there, I heard them or I seen something, and I know it was them. I know it was them, and I'm like, it's not.
It ain't
As
them.
as bad as you want it to be, it's not, because when I lost my dad, I would have gave anything to be able to talk to him one last time, and
Same.
we have to be careful with that, because that's an opening, and they will play on that, and
Yes.
you have to go to your faith, and you have to say, I know that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. That's not my dad, you know, but it's hard because you do want that connection. You do. I mean, I've had things break before here at the house and not know how to fix it, and Dad would know. Dad know he know how to fix everything. I'd be like, man, I wish Dad was
Yep.
here. He'd know how to fix it. But
Man, I know. I wish Dad were here with the political stuff. He would know what to say. He would know what to
oh,
do.
he would
Man, he
amaze
would
us just
know.
like he always did.
Oh, dude, he would know. He knew. Man, he knew exactly just the chill words to. You know how you have frustrating things in your life happen, and it's like, whether it be, you and your spouse argue, or you like something with a job or whatnot. Like dad would always, man, he would be so, how soft spoken he was. He'd be so soft spoken with me, and he's like, I know, do this, do that. And there were times even into adulthood, me and him got into it about certain things that we didn't agree on. Um, but man, he was always so soft spoken. He was always so like like it was more or less like a begging of, just trust me, please don't do X, don't do Y, because I'm stubborn, hard headed
That
kid,
was
man.
me.
I am
That
I
was
am
me.
I I know why dad lost his hair, and it wasn't because because of genetics.
That's
I
what
kid.
dad.
It will.
That's what dad would always tell me too. He'd say, "Boy, I'd hit myself or something." He'd say, "He's fine. He hit his head. I know he's okay." You know.
Yeah. And man, I just and I just miss him a lot.
And
I
like
miss
what
him a
Blake,
ton, man.
like what Blake said from the Lost Conservatory, pray before you go out. And that's right. Put that
Yep.
armor
Yep.
on. Put the armor on for sure.
Yes. Put the armor on, especially when, man, especially that that they exist now, because they know that Um, it's unfortunately, it's kind of like that poem that dad wrote, that loss of innocence. Do you know that they exist? They know you exist. Now it's a hey, I'm going to pray before I go down this trail.
Right.
I'm going
And
to pray and protect myself.
was they
So
more dangerous to us before we knew, or was they more dangerous to us after we know?
I think they're more dangerous to us after we know.
I think so too, because then they're like,
Um, Now we're
you
a
know,
threat to them.
yeah, you
I
know what
think
I
we're a
am.
threat to them. Yep, yep. And I do think that we have some spiritual power. We're a threat to them. We have spiritual dominion. Okay, we're again. I don't know the whole rules. None of us do, but we have spiritual dominion over this earth, and they can only do what's allowed. And if we pray them away, and God allows it, and God gives us those power, and we don't ever pray in our names, we pray in Jesus' name that X or Y is done. And if
Right.
God allows it, we're boom, it's done. It's
Right.
done. So the fact that we know, and that we're Christians, we pose a threat to them. And I think that is why um, we are more at risk than not, if that
Right.
makes sense.
And if they can unalive one of us, and they can take one of God's children,
Yes, yes.
you know.
And you know this is the way my mom puts it, is the end is drawing near, and the demons are restless, brother.
That's it.
So
It's
with
kind of like, a pack of coyotes. They'll eat on that, that deer, but once they start getting to the last parts of it, it's when they all start fighting each other and trying to get everything they can to devour it.
Yep, yep. I believe the end is drawing near, and the demons are restless. So, but with that said, my brother, I love you. Thank you so much for spending time with me this evening.
I love you too, man. And you don't just have to do it here. If you ever need me, I'm a phone call away, man.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And thank you guys again so much. This has been, us reading and just kind of reviewing chapter 8 and chapter 9 of The Truth Denied. This is a very well beaten and well worn book. I think you can get it for like $20 on Amazon. The Sasquatch DNA study, or it's called The Truth Denied, and it's my dad's version of it. Man, it's got I have been reading this for, golly, it feels like 6 months now, and I'm not even halfway, Mike. God, I mean,
Hey, that's good. That
there's
means we got a lot more
oh,
to
dude,
discuss.
we've got so much more content, and even after that, once we finally get done with this book, we'll get into the Nephilim Among Us, which, oh, what a great book that is.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean, it's
heard it
just so,
really
so good.
rocks. I heard that one rocks. I have heard that. A lot of people love that one.
Because it's got so much stuff. It's got so much stuff. But for those that say that oh, we're just out here, knocking on trees and making whoops, man, we are so far past that, and we're having fun. We're having fun. We're trying to make a little light of this. We're talking about a serious subject. But for those that are willing to listen, man, we have all the evidence in the world. We have evidence of just like we know in today's society that um, the powers that be and the things that control the powers that be don't want this information out there. Um, they deny. But we have the truth.
The
The
greatest, the
truth of
greatest lie. The greatest lie he ever told was he didn't exist.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But with that said, I love you, my brother. I am going to hit the sack. You guys are the best. Subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, you should be to Mike's channel. And please subscribe to mine, the Scott Carpenter YouTube channel, and the
Yeah,
Sasquatch Awareness Project. And if you like the outdoor stuff, T Carp is always a great channel too.
absolutely, man. Everybody go subscribe, support you, and God bless you and your family, man. Be blessed. And
Brother,
until we see you next
you
time, love
too.
you.
Love you too, brother. You be good.
You too. Yeah, guys, go check him out. Like you said, his channels are great. All of his channels are great. Um, I support him 100%. He's more than a friend. He's family. A lot of information over there. He's honest. I can't say enough about him. He's a really good guy. Guys, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the change tonight. What did you all think about going solo? It was kind of like the old days. It felt kind of weird to me. I will admit it was different tonight. Kind of feels like when I first started out sitting at the desk and I had the PlayStation TV behind me playing, and Hunter was yelling at me, "Dad, we about done." But that will happen again someday. Of course, he'll be old enough someday that he'll be sitting right here next to me, I'm sure. But guys, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your support, smashing the like button, sharing this out. This will also be placed on Spotify. Don't forget, we now have Discord. The link to Discord is at the top of the chat. Feel free to join it, come in, chat with everybody. It's great people in there. Until next time, guys, God bless. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and good night.